Hello everyone, I'm Dad at the Butt, and welcome to Abuttment, a Minecraft 1.12 Let's Play for both new and non-players. That's the inventorials completed, and now we can get on to some more freeform commentated gameplay. Unlike typical Let's Plays, where experienced players jump straight into projects with little explanation, I'm viewing these through the eyes of Glamourdoc. Remember, she's a non-player. To start with, the gameplays will be concept-oriented. As I come across a new concept, I will take the opportunity to introduce it. Those concepts will reduce over time, and we'll be able to move on to a more project-oriented gameplay, developing the world to provide an abundance of resources at each level, achieving advancements, integrating them into the world, and then progressing towards the next advancement. This is day number 3, but the day number becomes less relevant now that we can sleep through the night. In terms of advancements, our next is iron. But let's find a patch of land to claim for our own before we start progressing on that. Players will often take spawn, that is, the world spawn, as the position where they will create their initial home base. Over time, I've developed a preference for a particular sort of area in which I like to build my base, and that is in a bay next to the ocean with a clear view across to the west so that I can watch the sunset. Today we will collect resources, top up our wood, cobble's okay, but our planks and our sticks need topping up. We'll bring ourselves up to a nice level of resources and pack, at which point we can set off and explore. Back in the shelter, let's take a moment to sort our inventory. Before that, I notice I'm down a couple of units on food, and I'm down 1.5 units on health, following our drowning demonstration yesterday. So we will quickly munch an apple. Our food is recovered, and up comes our health accordingly. And put things back where I generally like to have them. This raw mutton will serve as better cooked. Let's chuck that on the furnace. One charcoal will do 8 mutton, so that will leave us with these 3 to start making some charcoal to bring our torches up to a full stack of 64. We'll bring our wood up to a stack of 64, likewise planks and sticks. The diorite is irrelevant, we'll be dumping that. Now it would be nice when we find a base to have everything ready to go, so we'll take our doors with us. It would be nice as well, or almost necessary, to take a bed. Now I could take this one, but when you sleep in a bed, it sets or resets your spawn point. So now that I've slept in the bed, should I die, I will be returned to the bed, provided it's not been broken or become obstructed in the meantime. So I don't really want to destroy this bed. At the moment, should I die, I'll be returned into the shelter, and provided I've left the door closed, I will be coming back to a place of safety. So we'll leave this bed here which means we will need to locate some more wool. Immediate objectives: wood, charcoal for torches. What I'll do is, I tend to collect oak wood for preference. There were some birch trees. I'll chop those down as well, but those I will use for charcoal to bring up my torches. Once I've got my wood stacked up, I'll replenish or take my planks and my sticks up to a stack of 64 each. Just realised my dirt belongs there. I could also do with some sand. We haven't seen any yet. I'm sure we'll find that when we're on our travels. Let's get to chopping some wood. I won't be replanting these trees. Having a clearing will help us relocate spawn if we ever need to. Remember, these birch I will be putting in to the furnace to make some charcoal. There is a very annoying cave underneath me here. I can hear skeletons and zombies. Pick up all the drops. How are we doing? So, stack of wood, 60:31. Need to keep an eye on the time. Take our pork chops and put our birchwood on. Now what I'm going to do is move this charcoal over here so we can keep these birchwood cooking. So we have our 64 wood and 33 left over, but we will be using those to restock our sticks and planks. We also need to replace an axe that we broke whilst we were busy working. So let's take ourselves up to, we started with one, so it's taking us as close as it can to a stack of 61. Keep those there and bring our sticks up to 64. That means we need to make some more planks. And we've got 11 wood left over. In terms of tidying up, we don't need this diorite. We'll probably have some wood we don't need. So I'm going to take some planks and build 2 chests. A ring of planks gets you a chest, and I'm going to take 2. Always keep an eye on the time. And those 2 chests we're going to take and we're going to place one here. Now, you only have, as we know, a limited amount of personal storage. Whenever that runs out, though, we can place things into chests. A single chest has 3x9 slots, same as our inventory. We can place another chest next to it. That becomes a double chest, which gives you 6x9 slots. So this diorite that we don't need, we can keep there. It occurred to me that we haven't done any hostile mob hunting yet, and without that it's hard to understand why we spent the last 2 evenings hiding in a hole. So I'm going to take a short break from loading up my inventory, build a very basic tower on which we can spend a night hunting mobs. Mobs are too high, 2 blocks high, so this is a 3 high tower, so hopefully we can hit them, they can't hit us. Spiders can climb, but they can't handle an overhang, so hopefully these blocks here should stop them, although yeah, they may be able to get up. They may treat those as 2 blocks and get up there. This is stood up, this is crouched. If I stay crouched, then I shouldn't fall off the platform. So once the sun sets, when I refer to mobs here, I will be referring to hostile mobs. They will spawn wherever it is dark, which is why we put torches in the basement of our shelter. We didn't want to return from cutting wood to a basement full of zombies. So once it gets dark, they will start to appear. They can only appear outside of a radius of 32 blocks from the player, so they won't mysteriously materialize just behind you. Different hostile mobs have different offensive and defensive capabilities, and they will drop different items. We will be dealing with zombies, creepers, skeletons, and spiders. Now, unfortunately, skeletons are made out of bones, and we are in a forest full of wolves. So I think any skeletons who try to come and visit will find themselves with a face full of wolf. They can move quite quickly. They have bows. They will take you out from a distance. They will drop bones and arrows. Zombies are the most innocuous. They're quite slow. All they do is punch you. All they drop is rotten flesh. Rotten flesh can be eaten, but it will poison you. Generally, that poison will not kill you. There are exceptions. You can find zombies that will have materialized with armor or a sword, but relatively rare. Even rarer, a zombie can drop a carrot. Useful if you can't find any other sources of carrots and you're looking to grow some, particularly for feeding pigs. Okay, a quiet night. So that's zombies and skeletons. Spiders, they just jump at you, do some damage. They're very easily killed. Quite often drop nothing. Can drop string, which is incredibly useful. That's what we need for a bow. And very occasionally will drop a spider's eye, which is something we need later on for potions, but that's quite a way away. Creepers are strange beasts. They move silently. They will creep up on you from behind, making absolutely no noise. The first thing you will hear when they get within a couple of blocks is they will set off their own internal fuse. You then have about a second to get out of its range, at which point it will detonate, taking out you and a chunk of the ground around it. If you can get out of its range quick enough, which typically requires sprinting, you can get it to reset its fuse, and it will then start coming after you, and once in range will set its fuse off again, and so on and so forth. What you need to do is try and get a hit in, run away so that it resets its fuse, get another hit in, etc., until you eventually kill it. And having said all of this, and warned you of how nasty they are, I am now going to have a night of absolutely no mobs. Remember, this time we have the moon as our clock. We're halfway through the evening. I will come back should anything interesting happen. There wasn't a great deal going on over at the shelter, so I've moved down to our waypoint landmark down by the river bend in the hope of seeing a little more action. And here we go. So we still have some wolves here. They're going to deal with any skeletons. And we have a plethora of creepers. A couple over there. One stood on a mound over there. A couple of spiders down in the grass. Zombie over there. Let's see if we can attract any of their attention. Come on. Nobody wants to come over and play. So the spiders just despawned. As did the zombie. Nothing else for it. We are going to have to go and see if we can attract somebody. So over here we have our first creeper. There we go, managed to get far enough away. And that time I got far enough away to protect myself, but not to stop him from demolishing a big hole in the ground. And we have a couple of zombies, so let's show you how the tower works. Can be quick enough, so crouch. I'm too high for them to get me, but I can get them each time I hit them. He was losing a heart. Experience orbs are too far away. And you can see he's dropped some zombie flesh. And there's a skeleton being chased by two wolves. Don't mind that at all. If he hits me with his bow, he could well knock me off this tower. So, sunrise is on its way, moon is setting, sun is rising. Zombies and skeletons are undead creatures, so when the sun rises, any skeletons and zombies caught out in daylight will start to burn unless they can take shelter under a tree or in water. Creepers are immune to sunlight. They are not an undead creature, so they can hang around until they naturally despawn. If there were any spiders, they would have reverted from hostile to neutral. Just scanning, so you can see there's a creeper up there towards spawn, and there you can see a burning skeleton or zombie running around. So he's either now died or is hiding under a tree somewhere. Just go and collect this zombie flesh and experience orbs. They would have despawned after 5 minutes. Just taking a quick look. So here we have a skeleton who's survived the sunlight by jumping into water. Now that he's come after me out of the water, fire and death. Some bones, some arrows. I was hoping to see some spiders. We're beyond the range they would have spawned now. But we do have some sheep. So I can get some more wool for a second. I believe I heard some chickens. Here we go, chickens. Chickens lay eggs, and when killed, drop raw chicken and feathers used for arrows. We're pointing those until we have a bow, for which we need spiders that we don't appear to have any of. In terms of the eggs that the chickens lay, for every 10 eggs that you throw, there is a chance that one of them will hatch. So if you can get 20 eggs, you have a good chance of getting a breeding pair of chickens. So let's sprint back to our landmark tower. I imagine that zombie that was up near the shelter would have gone by now. There's our creeper hole. Let's head back up to shelter. Being extra cautious this time that no hostile mobs are still hanging around. They should have all despawned or died through sunlight by now. And there we go. That's monster hunting. Dawn on day 4. Our inventory is nicely loaded. We just need to find some sand on our travels and some more wool to make a bed. We'll be headed west. I'll be looking to set up somewhere on a western coast. But should we get lost, it's time to introduce the debug screen. The debug screen we get by pressing F3 on our keyboard. Holds quite a lot of useful information. We'll introduce those as they become useful to us. At this point in time, we are interested on the left-hand side, first line of the second paragraph, starting XYZ. That gives us a basic GPS. The center coordinate, 76, the Y coordinate, is our elevation, with 64 being sea level. Should we dig down round about level 5, we will start hitting bedrock. By the time we get down to level 1, it will all be bedrock. Bedrock is an indestructible block within Minecraft and basically forms the floor of the world. We are at minus 205 on the X and plus 267 on the Z. X is our east-west axis, positive towards the east, negative towards the west. The Z is our north-south axis, positive to the south and negative to the north. 0, 0 is the approximate centre of the generated world. As you can see, we're within about 200 blocks of the centre, which is quite typical of the initial world spawn. The other item of interest on this particular screen, you can see a few lines below the XYZ. It will tell us which direction we are facing in. So currently primarily west, north, east, south. And below that it tells us our biome. We are in a forest, and as we travel across the world, we will discover that during world generation, Minecraft apportions the world into areas which are generated slightly differently according to type known as the biome. This is a forest, rolling hills, trees, grass, possibly populated with wolves, and as we do our travels, we will come across different biomes. As I'm looking for an ocean, let's run on down to the river, and we will follow the river, hopefully looking for an ocean. As we travel along, first of all, let's have a look. Let's cross over the river. We'll have slightly easier going on the other side. Now we can see here a marked reduction in the number of trees. So I suspect that we're going to be in a plains biome now. We can check that on our debug screen. And there we go, about left-hand side, second paragraph, about the 5th line, biome. So we're now on the plains. Flatter, less trees. But also a good chance of animals. Let's get our sprint on. Now remember, if I can't find wool for a bed, here we go. If I can't find wool for a bed before nightfall, I'm going to be in trouble. There we go. So that's 3. And 1 for luck. You'll also see as I destroy grass that occasionally it drops. There we go. It drops seeds. 1 there, 1 there. We will go and pick them up. Those will come in useful later. Right, so here comes the sunset. I need to quickly make a bed. First I'm going to need to make a crafting table, if I can get a grip. Thanks, go. I'm going to use a particularly cheaty method, whereby if I'm quick enough, plonk down my bed and sleep. Hopefully there wasn't enough darkness for anything to spawn, but always be on the ready. And there we go. Recover our items. Jump on a sprint, carry on. Trees with vines, and you can see that the coloration of the grass has changed, and I'm also seeing a few mushrooms, indicative of a swamp biome. Looking down, that still says the plains. Let's cross over the boundary. Shallow water, lilies. Definitely. Let's check now. There we go. Biome swampland. I shall carry on with my exploration, and we will pick up in the next episode. I hope you've enjoyed watching as much as I've enjoyed making this video. As I always say, I'm not in it for the likes, but if you do leave a like, then anybody else who may find this useful would be able to find it. Subscribe if you'd like notifications of any future uploads, and feel free to comment, but keep it relevant. Most importantly, be nice to each other. Keep playing Minecraft.